Paul Heyman is speaking out for one of the very first times since he was written off of WWE television. So we'll see what's new with him. We'll also check out what's up with Dominik Mysterio, Liv Morgan, and more. Starting things off with Paul Heyman's interesting words from his new interview with Newsweek. Paul Heyman looked back at the Bloodline story so far and previewed the events that are still to come. He pointed out how SummerSlam 2024 was truly the first real point of the Bloodline story where Roman Reigns was not the champion. And it's absolutely true. Roman Reigns was given the Universal title just 1 week after his 2020 return. So the last entire 4 years has been with Roman as champion. So now that he's no longer champion, the whole story has flipped. Paul Heyman even previewed what's next for the Bloodline story, and looked at it as a viewer that's examining all the new potential directions. He had this to say about the future of the story, quote, "We are now in a new era of the Bloodline story with Roman Reigns as not the champion. How does he correct that? How does he take back the name of the tribal chief? Who is the head of the table, Solo or Roman Reigns? Jimmy is not here. Jay is not here. The Wiseman is not back yet. How does Roman Reigns deal with those on his own? Is this a revenge yarn, like an old spaghetti western where one man goes back, cleans up the village, and gets his revenge? Or is it a revenge yarn where he can't do it by himself, even if he has to? What are the twists and turns that happen then? We have a long road ahead of us. All I can say is, for me, how I see the trajectory of it, and the many ways we can go about it, it's going to be fascinating, and will hopefully put our past 4 years of work to shame," end quote. So Paul Heyman, being the master storyteller that he is, absolutely nailed it there with that analysis of the story. And that does seem to be the story approach for the time being. Roman has had several weeks now of embarrassing the new Bloodline and making easy work of them all on his own. But the twists and turns could be that the numbers advantage eventually creeps up on Roman, and he can't simply overcome a 4-on-1 attack, and he's gonna need to rally some of his old troops back together to have a real chance against Solo's Bloodline. So Heyman has basically teased and previewed the story there, and that appears to be the direction they're headed in. Roman will eventually find himself recruiting everyone back to help him one by one. And in other Bloodline-related news, reports in several other outlets have been putting up lots of conflicting reports regarding the nature of Jacob Fatu's injury. Some say it's a real injury, others say it's just to keep Roman and Jacob from interacting for a little while, so no one knows the truth of what's happening there. But the positive side of things is that Jacob is reportedly set to return by the end of August. But real injury or not, Jacob's return will still be impactful, and obviously the next biggest part of the story is to see Roman and Jacob square off to see how exactly will that turn out. Roman hasn't struggled at all facing Solo and the Tonga brothers, but the struggle absolutely will come into play once Jacob is reintroduced into the story. Remember that prior to SummerSlam, Jacob Fatu went on a nearly 5-week stretch of being the saving grace for the Bloodline to get him out of sticky situations. And he topped that stretch off by single-handedly taking over the tag team titles match and basically winning the titles all by himself in the closing moments of the match. So they built him up extremely well over the last few weeks, and it's possible that they did all of that just so that he could be a credible threat to Roman Reigns. Solo's new Bloodline is going to need Jacob back, so he can once again be their saving grace and save them from Roman Reigns. And if Jacob gets the upper hand on Roman, maybe that'll be the very first step of Roman realizing he can't do this on his own. And it doesn't stop there. Fans were also freaking out a bit because they noticed that it seems like Jey Uso's hair is slowly turning back into that red color. Jey had the red-tipped hair during his time with the original Bloodline, so to even see a small shade of what appears to be red on Jey's hair has fans going crazy. And even that wasn't the last teaser at all. Right before Adam Pearce's conversation with Drew McIntyre on the August 12th edition of Raw, it sounded like Pearce was in the middle of working a trade out, possibly with SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis. We obviously didn't get to hear the other side of the phone call, but Pearce could be heard mentioning how it needs to be 2 guys. So the fans believe that this must be a trade that's actively going on that will send 2 Raw superstars to SmackDown. The fans' best guess is that Adam Pearce could move Sami Zayn and Jey Uso to SmackDown to complete whatever trade he's working on. Moving Sami Zayn and Jey Uso to SmackDown perfectly sets up the field for Roman to recruit Sami and Jey right back into the original Bloodline. Roman can't really do that at the moment since Sami and Jey are on completely separate brands. But just to have this trade go through, and Roman will have his entire old squad on SmackDown, just waiting to be recruited by him again. So that's what fans feel like is really being set up here, and it certainly works and makes a lot of sense for the Bloodline story and the direction that it's headed in at the moment. There's quite a lot going on right now in the world of the Bloodline, so have to keep your eyes out on every single little part of this story. A big popular topic of discussion in recent weeks amongst the fans has been the topic of Dominik Mysterio and his wife. Dominik and Marie Juliette have been together since their first meeting of their high school days and just recently got married. But everyone has been itching to know what is her thoughts on the fact that Dominik has been on the receiving end of a lot of affection from Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan in recent months. Well, Dominik Mysterio was asked a similar question by Logan Paul on Impulsive, and he revealed what she texted him following the recent moment of Rhea Ripley licking his face. Dominik said that the first text he got from his wife after that moment from Rhea was to let him know that they had a spider in the garage. The point of that story from Dominik was to say that his wife doesn't care. He claims she fully understands how separate WWE television is from reality, and how he's simply playing a character on TV. And fans figured that was the case. It's just like any married actor. Chances are they're going to have a different on-screen partner for a movie or TV series, but it's simply just acting and portraying a character for filming. WWE is very similar. They're all pro wrestlers, but at the same time, they're also actors that are portraying these different characters and taking part in multiple storylines. So Dominik gave everyone the answer to that burning question they've been asking for weeks now. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.